Hello, everyone. My name is Antonia, and I will be your host today together with Mohanji, MYC member from India. Thank you for coming to this panel discussion organized by Mohanji Youth Club in collaboration with Ammucare and ACT Foundation. Thank you all for being here with us. For those who may not know, I will just briefly say a few words about the Mohanji Youth Club shortly. So it is global network for young people, and currently we are present in 18 countries. There are two core pillars for MYC, that is self-acceptance and selfless action. And our goal is simple, but very essential. It is to make youth stable. So through MYC crisis management, our purpose is to help young people to become stable and to become capable leaders in a world that is full of crises and full of calamities. Our goal is actually to teach them how to respond, but not to emotionally react during the crisis situations. Today, we are honored to have incredible people with us who walk through really a real life crisis and real life scenarios, and they are true leaders with their wisdom and experience. Today, they will share with us how they managed to respond with stability and clarity, even in times when nothing was stable except them. It is a great honor to introduce Deepali, Selma, Aishwarya, and Chai. We are very excited to hear your story today. Just one thing before we start. Unfortunately, we are not able to listen all the stories. They have a lot of them and a lot of experiences. So we will give some time to each of them, but there will definitely be some opportunities to share these stories longer. So let's begin. Mohanish, I'm giving you the stage.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mohanish, and I would like to welcome all of you to this panel discussion. So, we'll start with one of our panelists, Deepali Bais. Deepali ji, you have served in a variety of relief operations from neighboring Nepal, southern Kerala, and tribal areas of Andhra Pradesh. So, let us begin with exploring the relief operation in Nepal. It was Ammucare's first cross-border relief operation during the disastrous Nepal earthquake. There would
अच्छा
have been chaos, panic, and every regular system would have collapsed. So, how were you able to strategize this mission during this time? And what can we learn about serving in unfamiliar conditions like these?
Thank you, Monish. Yeah, you're right. Like Nepal, Amukir has done various relief operations. Nepal was one of the turning point for us because this was the first cross-border relief operations we were doing, and it's there were a lot of challenge. The whole, if you remember, the news are there, statistics are there. It was all utter. Everything collapsed in Nepal. Nothing was working. There were buildings were like completely collapsed. There were like rescue operation went for weeks and weeks. So there was actually nothing working, no telecom, nothing. So this was a challenge for us. This was first cross-border relief operation, and we had to do it all remotely. So the very important thing at this time is to have your plan in place, proper plan in place, and be ready for the uncertainties. So we chalked down the what is the actual requirement at the ground. We worked out the how can we procure that and what is the nearest point we can reach Nepal, because then they're like we have to be somewhere, we have to cross the border to do the thing, and how can we do that? So then we connected to the NDRF, and because they were taking a lot of relief of material cross border, because Home Care has the operations only in India. We don't do operations across India. So we activated the local network. We activated our team at Delhi, and from there we procured mostly things were like tents and tarpaulins, clothes, new clothes, because we when you do such operation, you need to take care of the dignity of the receiver as well. So we make sure that the clothes we are sending are new. So we procured all the material. We connected with there was somebody called Brigadier Shankar, and he helped us a lot. So we connected with him. He guided us through the process, and then we collaborated with NDRF, and then we sent all the material to Nepal. There was a huge consignment, properly packed, packaging, and everything was done by the team at Delhi. So it was like totally a new experience for us, like coordinating, taking the requirement from there, providing the things at Delhi, doing coordinating with NDRF. So it was a good like amount of work and quite challenging.
Okay. So sometimes there are communities that are not reached. Like during Cyclone Hudhud, you led a relief operation to a population that is often missed by the national radar. That
Yeah.
are the marginalized tribals in Araku Valley. So,
Yeah.
what was this encounter like?
See, there is like every time the disasters, like they're of different nature, you know. So when this Hudud cyclone, that fall was made at the coastal belt of Andhra, like Vizag, and it affected the Araku Valley of tribal area. So we were also impacted that time, you know. We faced the cyclone, so we were also one of the victims who were embracing the cyclone, and we were actually we experienced the, it was like winds at the at 190 kilometers per hour. Everything was like all airports were all damaged. Nothing was working. We actually had 10 days without electricity ourselves. So you forget about the marginalized people, how what they must be going through. So that was the, when we were assessing and analyzing what happened and what are the damages happened after the cyclone, we came to know that there is a tribal belt at Araku, which is like nobody is able to reach till to them. So that was our focus area. So we reached to that belt, and we the prime thing we did was we packed the ration, basic ration, and the clothing and utensils. So then they were like extremely happy because then nobody was able to reach to them at that point. So we were the first one who reached to those tribal people. So it was a very, very good experience and very challenging as well because the terrain was difficult. Reaching, taking things there was difficult. There was like markets were completely closed because of the cyclone. So, but we could manage, and it was a good experience there.
So, this is amazing. Like, so what should be a quality that we should remember as a leader when we reach out and serve these communities that are often ignored by the mainstream?
I would say that first thing is flexibility. You should be ready for the uncertain, navigations that you have to plan, you know, spontaneously then and there. So you need to be very, very flexible with your plan. You need to adapt because every region has a different requirement. Every people, you have to have the cultural connect as well so that you don't compromise on the dignity part. Because when the disaster struck, gets no there is no differentiation between the marginalized and the privileged one. So when you're approaching people, you have to keep that thing also in mind. You have to be very, very adaptable as per the situation. And third very important thing is a collaboration. You need to connect locally, make your teams locally, connect, make a good network, connect, try to connect with the forces, the local people, the village heads and all, so that you have their operations are very, very smooth because you will face lot of challenges along the line.
Dipali ji, that's true. Coordination is one of the highlight quality that is required during disaster relief. So I would like to ask, you were on the ground during the 2018 Kerala floods. That was one of the most tragic disasters in India. And you have also coordinated flood disasters in Nagaland and Chennai. These are different regions, and
Yeah.
that would require different strategy. So how were you able to lead that? And what are the qualities required for that?
Yeah, you're right, Monish. Kerala, you know, is was like a biggest one I saw, I think, during like whatever what we have seen till now. For 2 days, we were only seeing choppers flying, the naval choppers and the Air Force choppers and rescuing people. And Ammucare was the first NGO or the non-profit who were right. We coordinated with Indian Navy and we were right at the hangars, aircraft hangars where aircrafts were landing, rescuing people. So we were giving them the fresh clothes, towels, and all. So we were right on the ground, and also we could manage to because the whole Kerala was drowned, completely submerged, like first floor, second floor, it was all people were standing on the roof without food. So we coordinated with the forces and we packed the food and we airdropped the food in those locations, like good warm food, also the chocolates and the dry fruits. So that was a requirement in Kerala. That was a different requirement altogether. If you remember the visuals of Kerala, there was like a landing on the rooftop where they rescued a pregnant woman. So that was a different challenge. Kerala had a different challenge altogether. Nagaland, again, we worked in the Domokia village at near Dimapur, where we were again reaching to the tribal village, very very remote village. That was the target, because we connected again, we activated the local team through the Army Connect, and we reached that village. So there terrain was different, but you need to adapt. That's what I'm telling, that adaptability, because you will come to know, oh, this is a problem. Like, we loaded a truck with all the stuff needed, and moment the truck reached, the truck couldn't reach the village. So we had to arrange a smaller truck and a smaller village, which villagers were actually pushing and taking it to the village. So these are the challenges which will come on the line, and you can never be prepared for that. This is, you have to be adaptable. Your plan should be very very quick. So this is how you learn, and when you operate in different region.
Thank you so much, Dipaliji. This was really insightful. Like, we
Thank you.
really understood the realities of working in remote areas as well as the coordination required across borders. Thank you so much. Next, I would
Thank you,
like
Manish.
to invite Antonia to continue with the discussion further.
Thank you, Mohanji and Deepali. Last weekend we were playing that real life scenario that we don't have internet, and now you were really expressing how it was to be 10 days without electricity. So it was really not game; it was real life scenarios. I would like to invite Aishwarya. So please spotlight her. Welcome, Aishwarya.
Namaste. Hello.
You served in both natural and man-made emergency.
Yeah.
So from cyclones to large religious gatherings, and you have a lot of experience. Let's hear about your experiences. So you've been involved in relief work during cyclone in Odisha. Could you share what it was like on the ground and what kind of support your team provided? What are some important things that we should keep in mind for actually effective relief coordination? If you would like to share these things with us.
Sure. Thank you. So, one of the major relief we have done in Fani, which is around 2019, it had happened. It's a major, why? Because it had hit directly in the east zone, and which is the landfall in one of the east part of the Odisha, called Puri, and that coastal zone. So, and it is major because people have lost their houses. It's completely broken. Kindly, matlab, seeing those houses is completely broken. People has to come out from their houses. It's very dangerous situation for them. No electricity, because it has to go, because they can't keep the electricity because of the safety, and they won't have the for longer period. It's not only for 10 days, it is more than 15 to 30 days, because it has completely wiped out with the towers and the network. So they have to reconstruct everything to give them the electricity back. So when the cyclone had happened, so we got the news already. It has been announced in the television newspapers and sorry, the channels and all. So it's much people are much aware about it. So somewhere they plan to shift it to in the safety places, but people must have not like think of it will be going to be so worse in that situation, where people will lost their houses completely, because most of the houses in the Odisha is still with the mud, and the construction is not completely be done with the buildings. So still somewhere have the mud houses. So where it has gone wiped out completely in the cyclone. And so when we got the news, I was in Bangalore. So Mohanji had given our instruction to go to the such places to serve. So I came back to Odisha. So we started. So by the time I reach, it's completely like have to start from the scratch. We have very few member in Odisha, so who all are went for the survey. Where is the major things happen? We have gone to the ground level to see all that, and that time it is the weathers are really horrible. It's like when completely nature is gone destroyed, like all the trees gone fallen down. It's completely kind of burning situation. In that as well, people are surviving with that. No electricity, nothing. With that heat, people had to survive without houses as well. So we serve lot of food materials, the basic food stuff with the people, and also to the mosquito nets, because that's more important for that time, because they have to sleep outside somewhere. So without electricity, there will be a lot of mosquitoes and all. So the mosquito nets, the major essence possibilities we have given. So yeah, that's the really horrible situation when I came and see the, because I have been experienced a lot of cyclone, but never like this. So yeah, it's a very big one. I have seen it.
Wow, this is really like there is one question. So when you see that people are losing their houses and all this is happening, how you stay stable and not, too emotional for these people? There are definitely kids and a lot of things happening. How you manage your mind to, not be emotional, but just to respond to the crisis?
Yeah, you have to go to the people to give them some kind of assurance that okay, don't worry, it can be helpful for the people. Will come with some help. Don't worry at all. Some safe places where we have to tell people to go to such places where there is a safety, where is the proper building stuff where they can live for some days until unless they get the house back. And those who lost completely their houses, they have to uh, completely start with the scratch again to rebuild their houses. So you have to talk to them. Lot of time you have to spend the time with them. You have to give the your time to them so that they feel safety over there, and they feel somewhere assurance that no, everything will be fine, because it's a very panic situation. They don't know what going to be next for them, like how they're gonna start it again. So yeah, it's very horrible situation in 2018 what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, but imagine how stable you are to lead all these. And of course, emotions are happening when you're seeing this, but I suppose you have their purpose and you have clarity. Why are you there? And that the biggest support is then to be stable. So let's
Yeah.
go to the next situation. During the 2023, where floods were in Odisha, we heard that the water was chest high in some areas. How did your team reach people in such extreme conditions? And what can we learn about the courage and preparedness in these situations?
Yes, in 2023 as well, it is the water. Again, people can't matlab, imagine in that level of water will come. But usually, Odisha faces lot of time this kind of situation. They know might it comes to the chest level, might people have can't leave in under the house. It water might come into the house as well. So they do some kind of precaution as well to be prepared. So fear definitely is there, because water has lot of insect mites, snakes are around, and lot of fear will be there. So when we heard some places are underwater where water is completely under the buildings, there where people has to live on the top of the roof, matlab the terrace there, they have to survive for few days until unless water goes down. So and those places only the source is to reach is the boat, either the manual boat and the motor boats. So, and depend on the electricity as well. If the petrols are available, then machine motors will work. Otherwise, you have to go with the manual boats. So our team reach out. I have gone to that relief distribution as well. So first thing, I never gone to the such kind of water under the water work. So the first time when I went there, and my water is my completely chest level, my chest level, and under the water you have to walk, and there you can't even figure it out where it is the like bigger spaces you might fall into the water, or it's a very dangerous situation. Only the help of the people of the villagers only, they know the route to take you to the places where you have to distribute. So, and also the fear of the snakes, the insect, might it come and bite. But yeah, with all of that, people, our team reached to that place where we have given a dry food to them, and the mosquito net again, the trampoline and all, everything we have distributed on that those areas. But only the thing, it's very, very dangerous when it comes to the chest level water. You don't know where is the pond must be around. You don't know. You might fall into that water, and only the thing is you have to be very stable and go with that faith, and absolutely no fear.
Wow. I didn't thought about snakes, but yes, so many things can happen in these kind of situations. So
Yeah.
looking back to all these events, there are more of them, but we will stay on this. What's one lesson that changed your personality? And what should you, as a leader, carry forward from your journey?
uh, as a leader, be with the present, active. Matlab, you have to be very active in your present. What is going to happen? All the situation you have to be ready, and absolutely with the no fear, with all the situation, nothing to worry, because you have to be very uh, present at that moment, so that you can guide your team what to do in the next situation. If might things happen, might any uncertainty can happen, so you have to be prepared with all the situation, that you have to be present with your mind to work on that situation as well, without having fear and any kind of other thoughts. So that's more what I learned in these things. And be present to travel everywhere, as Dipali ji said, that flexibility. Yes, of course, you have to be very flexible with all the situations.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Aishwarya. We would
Thank
like to
you.
listen you more, but in some other times,
Sure.
and really share the important things, and you shared with us how it's important to be flexible. And I hope you are aware how brave you are, and it's amazing to listen your stories. I'm now giving the
Thank you.
stage to the other guests. So Mohanish, please take it.
I would like to invite Selma for this discussion. Can you please spotlight her?
Hi
Hi,
everyone.
Selma.
Hi.
Selma, hi. Selma, you have responded to a variety of international crises, from Morocco earthquakes to Ukraine, which is under severe conflict. So let's start with Ukraine. When you reached Ukraine, you realized that people needed more than just food, like washing facilities, mental health support, and disability aid. Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah. So Ukraine is a man-made crisis. So it's a conflict area where obviously where the area is very dangerous, people will be displaced and go to safe areas basically. So just imagine, for example, that this happens to you and you are ending up in your local school or your local sports hall, and suddenly you're living there with 100 or 200 people 24/7, and maybe you can't even go outside. So that is the scenario you have to imagine. So, of course, always the first thing you're thinking about is your food and your sleep, so your food and your shelter and your hygiene, right? So that's most of the time kind of people think of straight away. the toothbrushes and the food, and but after that, you get a whole range of further needs. So after a week, you want to wash your clothes, right? And you're in a school, and there's probably only a few toilets because it's meant for maybe five or six toilets, but you're living there with 200 people, so you really could do with 10 toilets. And school often doesn't have a shower. You want showers. So I think that's one thing that really showed up, that a lot of the stress of these people in those displaced people centers is just those little things, like we want a shower, we want to wash our clothes. And in the longer run as well, living with, sleeping in, say, a sports hall on the floor on a mattress with 50 other people in that same room, maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, you start to feel a bit stressful, and you're already with the trauma of having to move away from your house. A lot of people had the trauma of actually experiencing the shelling. So that then on that level, you start to work with, like, well, what can we do to actually reduce the stress? And how about the mental well-being of the people? So the Ukraine team really responded well to that, I thought. Like, they were particularly involved with one school that was a displaced people center. There they changed like a small kind of storage room, I think it was a storage room, into more toilets, showers, and they provided 2 washing machines so that people could wash themselves. There were many children, so they would do activities with the children, like sports activities, but also some activities that were calming, like children's yoga. I think they also did actually yoga for adults. Chai may know more about that. It's really not just about food, basically, and it's not just about providing a toothbrush and some nappies for babies. It's a whole holistic kind of picture of literally mind, body, and spirit of the people. So there's always, something to do, and I
That,
think that what I really noticed wherever I went, we always think like this aid work in crisis situations, only other people can do that. But I think that is one of the things I realized, like, no, you can always simply go and do something.
that's a quite interesting situation because it explains us to think holistically. Generally, we think about food, some medical care. So, what's that one surprising leadership quality that you can share uh, from these invisible needs?
I think one thing that I noticed, and this is not just in Ukraine, is that but I will give you an example of Ukraine. Is that people the victims, they often don't really ask for help. They kind of just are in this slightly shock situation that they just get on. So there was, for example, one situation that these were people that were not actually displaced. A lot of people in the Ukraine that could stay living in the house because they were in safe areas, for example. I don't know the percentage, but most people that were working had to hand in a certain percentage of their income, and that would go to the conflict supplies. But also people with disabilities, they lost their disability allowance. So you can imagine if you have a disabled child that uses kind of these, adult diapers. They're very expensive, or like bed mats, or they need certain types of food that normally would have been supplied by the government. Suddenly they have to pay that themselves, and there's quite a lot of poverty actually that we came across. So then suddenly, even if you haven't been displaced, those people were also affected. And we were in one house. We came, and first of all, what we noticed is that this man, he was 38 at the time. He was disabled since he was a baby, since 9 months, and he got I think his last wheelchair when he was 8. So you can imagine a boy of 8, and now you can imagine a man that's 38. That's not going to fit. So he was literally deformed because they didn't have money to get an upgraded wheelchair. So his body was deformed to still fit. in this children's wheelchair. So that is one of those situations that you think, wow, they just get on like this. So one of the things that ACT Foundation was get him like a proper, not just a wheelchair, but like a more professional wheelchair, to make their lives more comfortable. But I also realized one other visit that there were a lot of power cuts in Ukraine. So they have maybe 2 hours of electricity in the day and 22 hours without electricity. That was in a time that I was there. The situation for some villages was like that. So then I asked the mother, how is this without electricity? Because this man watched a lot of television in his wheelchair because he couldn't do anything else really. And he said, yeah, he's struggling and he's mentally struggling because he cannot entertain himself. But he said the difficult thing for us is to feed him in the dark. Because then by the time the light goes back on, we realize the food was all here and he's all covered in food. And I was like, and he had to be spoon fed. They're trying to, in the pitch black, feed this disabled man, so that is when you then step in and say, well, I only need to go around the corner and get like an LED light for £10 or €10, and that will solve all their problems, and then you would give them a charger that they can charge it in those 2 hours of electricity. That is an example that you walk in and you realize, like, okay, people don't ask, they just get on. That is often my biggest surprise.
So these are
And
the
did you have to
realities.
walk in yourself and analyze and go with that mind of like, what can we actually do here to just make their life a bit easier? Because they don't often ask.
That's quite shocking to me because the realities on the televisions are very different on the ground. But there are people who can't travel to these regions, but they would like to support remotely. You have supported remotely during the Brazil floods. So what would you like to share with these leaders who can't go physically, who can't travel, but would like to help?
I think first of all, I have to admit, it of course helps that I have been on the ground, so it's only really because I have been to the Ukraine and Morocco and Turkey, and a bit like what Deepali said, you kind of get to know the do's and the don'ts and what to look out for. So I use a lot of my experience to now pass that on to other people. So I help them, for example, with the preparation, so it's like what to think about. Deepali already managed it. Like, you have to be mega flexible. You really cannot. It's not about what we think they need. You have to have local contacts that tell you what they actually need, and that changes often every day. So it's really kind of making them aware of that. Also preparing them for, I've had many surprises. Deepali also managed it. You get surprised by situations. So I want to then share that so they don't find that surprise. So for example, if you go when the crisis has just happened and you arrive with a van full of food and blankets and heaters and things, and the people have been deprived for days and there has been crisis, they get so overwhelmed that they kind of almost like raid the van and get a bit aggressive. Yeah. So and that then you end up maybe in not a safe situation. So it's just, telling them, be aware as soon as it gets a bit like, a bit hot or spicy, just literally close the door and go. It's preparing them like that. But if you are someone that hasn't been on the ground in a crisis, one thing that is extremely helpful is media support. If you are a strong leader in making videos and writing posts, that is extremely crucial support for people in the field. Most of the missions I've been on, I would be out in the day doing the actual work. And then while the rest of the team would go to sleep, I would sit and make videos to show the world what we're doing so that we get fundraising, because that goes hand in hand. You go, you show, and with that you fundraise, and that fundraising, you go, it's a cycle. That is something a skill that there's many amazing young people with incredible media skills, where you can really say, for me, if I can just send, in the end of the day, send my photos and my footage to someone and delegate that fully, and have a leader in that field that is responsible for the making the videos and distributing that,
That
is often the
that's
best
amazing.
support you can give to people in the field.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, through this initiative, also we are trying to use media to create awareness. This movement is we are doing is global. So we are conducting trainings for the youth. We are also trying to reach to schools through the media. So we definitely realize this power of media, and we definitely need everyone's support for this. Thank you so much, Selma, for highlighting these realities and unique challenges that are related to relief operations. Now, I would like to invite Antonia to further continue with this panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mohanish, and thank you, Selma, so much for sharing these stories. Let's go to Chai. Chai was in Ukraine crisis relief doing SEVA. She was on cross-border, she was coordinating, and she was giving emotional support. Welcome, Chai. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
Mhm.
It's
So
nice to hear all the stories.
let's go with your situation in Ukraine. When you help over 500 people, there was including kids, elderly, and disabled persons. And what was in this situation the biggest challenge when supporting them, and how did you solve it?
Yeah. As per these conflicts, everything is challenging, actually. Yeah. Um, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Yeah. So this is kind of the very first international humanitarian relief, and this act for Ukraine. So to source what people don't have, and people have to leave the countries and walk past to the border, to any border that's near to them, to leave the country, to leave the home, and to take nothing just away from the home. So everyone is in a shock, in a trauma. So the biggest challenges on this is not, as Sama said, not only food, not only it's the home, it's a place. They need a place to them temporarily, at least, to stay. So this is also one of the challenges that we see. And where do they go after crossing the border of the home of the country, home country? Where do they go? The first question. But before the questions, how do I cross the border on this strange land? So one of the biggest stories that I heard from one of the volunteer from other charity foundation, actually, and he accompanied his wife to go to this border where we go every day to check what we need to do. So he was there just standing and not helping everyone, just look around. But he stood by the border and he saw a family, a young couple, walking past with a kind of 5-year-old boy and a baby, a few months baby on the mother's hand. So they were walking past the border, and after walking past the border, so as you know, for Ukraine set the hub in between Ukraine and Romanian border, about 20 kilometers from Ukraine borders. So this man saw this couple walking past the Ukraine border, coming into the Romanian border. And this young man need to return back to the country to fight as a soldier. So, the whole family came to the border, and the young man need to return. and just turn his back and walk back into the Ukraine border. How do you feel? How do this young mother feel with a young baby and holding another baby? So this man felt that at that moment, someone that on the ground felt that moment. So what this young lady need? So he walked to the young lady and take them to a chair. But of course, this is really emotional, really, really emotional. At that moment, he doesn't think about food. He doesn't think about the father. Will this father come back? Yeah, I think this is one of the biggest challenges that when we see this moment and we think about, do we only provide food, or what do we need to provide further, more than food, more than to help to arrange places to stay? So this is like Selma say, the whole thing is the holistic, the whole thing is life. So so from there, we actually started to think about to do more. Instead of providing food, providing medication, we actually asked the people, the Ukrainian, what they need more than what we provide. And from there, I think this is the biggest challenge in the beginning. Yeah.
Thank you, Chai. So while leading these teams in very tough conditions, what helped your team to keep team motivated? And yeah, how did you manage this stress relief during these kind of situations?
I think focus on the purpose. Like we do have emotion, but then when you only focus on the purpose, you forget about emotion. You forget about what is happening. You only focus on what you wanted to do. So purpose, deliver this purpose. I think we have no room for negativity, no room for thinking about yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, purpose is definitely also making us on fire as a Mohanji Club collaborating with all of you. So one more thing, what is one quality you think that every leader should have to become strong disaster relief crisis manager? Instead of purpose, of course, there is purpose, but what is the skill and quality that each of us should have if we want to face crisis situations and manage them as a leader?
I think it's be ready.
Yeah. I didn't hear.
I think it's eligibility. Be ready.
What does that mean for the persons who maybe doesn't know what does that mean? Can you please explain us?
Yeah, be ready means, as you know, it's a crisis. You have no time to wait. So just be ready, be eligibility. Whenever crisis happen, just be there and then start the work.
Amazing.
Yeah. Of course, you have like what Deepali say, adaptability and a lot of other things. But I think first thing is be eligibility. So be there when the crisis happen. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really sorry that this is a little bit breaking. So we will stop today here because I would like that all these people who are here, that they start to ask some questions, because I prepared while I was listening to all of you. I prepared so many questions. So can we just spotlight our panelists, and if we can start with few questions before we close it? If anyone has questions, just raise your hands. Just to spotlight everyone. Yes, Sunil?
Yeah. Jai Mohanji. Yeah. Wonderful session it was. I mean, I was listening to the experiences of all the people who were coordinating, and I mean, right from the natural disasters to the man-made disasters and etc. Actually, I wanted to ask a question to Miss Selma when she was coordinating when she was helping the people in the Ukraine war. Like, take for example, as she mentioned, when we're helping people to move out to safer places. What would be our mindset? I mean, suddenly when we are doing the relief effort, and suddenly there comes an air raid siren saying that the fighters have attacked. Yeah, an air raid siren comes in. What will be our state of mind, or what should be our state of mind? Because whenever there is an air raid siren comes in, even the leaders also gets panicked because they have many people to move into bunkers and etc. And to top of it, I mean, there could be many children, women, expecting mothers and etc. So how should be, and I mean, what should be our line of action when faced with such a crisis? Yeah, you have many people here, air raid siren comes in, you have women, children, expecting mothers and etc. So how should we remain calm and poised? It's not so easy, but I would like to hear the opinions on this. Yeah.
I think first of all, it's important to us understand about responsibility. Yeah, so if I'm in a certain area and I'm leading a team, my responsibility is my team. So if I'm out there with, say, 4 other people from ACT Foundation, it's my responsibility to make sure that they are safe. So that doesn't necessarily mean that if I'm happening to be working in a school, that I'm also responsible for the school children, because someone else is responsible for that. And in fact, if I start to interfere with that, I may well be in the way of their system. The main thing is that you always have to be prepared. Chai was actually, when I went for the first time to Ukraine, Chai was the Ukraine lead. And she would always ask us, where are your passports? And your passports have to be on you all the time. So when you're in Ukraine and you feel you want to actually leave the country, you don't have to go to your hotel to pick up your passport. Yeah, so it's things like that. And of course, if there's an air raid, you're always aware that it could happen. We only work because the number one rule is your own safety and your team's safety. So of course, we only work in the Ukraine in the areas where it was actually safe. We were not in the border area where the daily or the shelling was, but you are in an area it could technically happen. And this is where you always have to do the risk. This is your risk, and this is the benefit of what you're doing, and you're balancing that. But we were in a safe area, so the benefit of us helping outweighed the little risk of us also experiencing shelling. Whereas if we would be at the border, it would be high risk of shelling, and that balance would be out. So I think we were just always aware. For example, one night we actually had a team of 6 youth people, wasn't it, Chai? That went to the Ukraine with us, and we were in a hotel, and they decided that they all wanted to go and sleep together. But it turned out that meant the parents were like 5 minutes away, because their hotel room was actually, you had to go down and then back up. And I was thinking, well, actually, that's not okay. If an air raid alarm does go off, I'm not going to run 5 minutes to find these kids. So to their dismay, I made one adult sleep with them while they had their little, later evening youth time. And how to stay calm. I think once you go into that scenario, it's all about, Deepali also said it, preparation. So you are prepared for the worst case scenario in your mind, and you talk that through with your team, that you all know. And very important, you have to have one leader. You have to agree who is the leader, and that person has the ultimate word. It's not, because a lot of the time it can be like we all come together and let's do this, but in crisis situation, often you have to have the one person that listens to everyone, but that makes the ultimate decision, and this is what we do.
Wow. Selma, thank you so much for sharing this, especially because this is leadership actually training, and we want young people all to encourage them to be leaders. And even now, while we are doing this, we just started this initiation, but from one leader, we became like, we have a leader for social media, leader for a game, which we will announce soon, leader for a mailing, and actually we experienced just in this month how we became, brave even to contact all of you and make this all happen. So there is a lot of work to learn how to be a leader. So we are very grateful to for this opportunity to listen from you. I have a few more questions, but let's Mr. Sunil say what he
Sure.
wants to.
Yeah, actually, I have two more questions. Sorry for
One by one. Only one
delay.
question, then
Only
the
one.
other
Okay.
person.
Okay, fine. Oh, final one. Okay. The thing here would be, I mean, after we complete all this disaster recovery operations and etc., won't we? I mean, I heard that many people go into a traumatic stress or depression. Like when they rescue people as a leader, they also happen to see people dying around, or people, I mean, what do you say, not having food and etc. Many people falling sick and etc. Won't that cause a post-traumatic, what do you say, a depression? And how can we come out of it? Because there would be a chance that many people, 1 out of 10 people, get stuck with this depression. I mean, after rescuing people and etc. Yeah. So any thoughts would be greatly appreciated on how to tackle this scenario, because we need to be prepared on both cases. One, to rescue, fine, but post the rescue, the images will definitely haunt in our mind for sure. So how to take over those is what I want to know. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing question. I would like to ask Deepali if she would like to reply on this question.
Yeah, definitely that what aspect you're highlighting is definitely there. As per my experience, if you ask about the mental state of the people who are involved in relief operation, so we are majorly involved in relief once the rescue is over. So the rescue part is mostly done by the government bodies, and we don't actually many times get to see the harshest truth on the ground, because we wait. Suppose a flood has struck or the earthquake has, some areas are, you're not allowed to go. Once the rescue is over, then only they allow us to work in those areas. So many times we don't get those harsh images, or the realities we don't face. But definitely there is a trauma, there is a counseling needed to handle these things, because when you're actually going and you're seeing the people deprived of such things. Like if I talk about the Kerala, there were people, uh, they were like very good rich people having big bungalows and all, but when they were like there was flood, they lost everything. And when they were also rescued with the normal people with the chopper, and they're landing with the all clothes wet, nothing in their hand. So when you see that reality, it do affects you as well. So this is a harsh reality, but I think in Ammucare or ACT Foundation, we are mostly, prepared for these things due to our conditioning and the training we are having and the discussions we have. But we do need a counseling session, a holistic approach to this aspect as well.
Thank you so much. For everyone who is interested in serving into Ammucare and ACT, definitely you can contact these beautiful ladies or ask for more information. Now we will go to the last question Sandra can ask, and then definitely we will have more collaborations, because this is very interesting, and we will collaborate more. So the last question, Sandra, you can ask now.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say that, one of the things we need to clarify up front is the organizations and the impact from a civilian point of view and from a structured military point of view, because most countries have their own civilian groups. You have Salvation Army, we have all kinds of people that are really organized in earthquakes and all kinds of scenarios. And also, I mean, we as an organization, we need to understand that we as civilians getting involved in these particularly important and impactful situations such as a crisis. So in my particular experience, we've had natural disasters, but a tornado actually hit a squatter camp, which is a very poor area in South Africa. And, it was completely, they had, people that had dwellings that were feeble, not really structured, not sound. lives were lost. They couldn't account for things like that. So what I found was, firstly, it depends who is closest to the point of impact, who can get there first. And often the person that gets there first is the person that has to deal with all of this before help comes from structured circles. So I would like to ask ACT Foundation, what capacity do we have to act in terms of, what is our approach? I mean, we are, what are our priorities? So we have a purpose. Our purpose is to help, right? So I need that redefined. I need it structured down in detail so I understand as a potential volunteer, what can I do? Can somebody answer that question for me, please?
Any panelists who would like to answer, feel free. I was thinking about Aishwarya, but anyone can reply, whoever feels to reply.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit about this. We do have a different structure in a different area because as different crises happen, it has to be dealt in a differently. The ACT Foundation board has to agree for all the helping to be started before that in a different country. And also the connection between the country where does it happen of the crisis. So the nearest ACT Foundation should be the action team, as I understand, for ACT for Ukraine. So who can go first? So who can travel faster to that area? Just like Thailand happened, the earthquake in Thailand and Myanmar, and now I'm in Malaysia. I'm not in UK, so I can go there immediately, straight away. So this is one point. And secondly, all the safety and we do have a proper draft of safety, like what Selma signed when she came, and all the youth came to start to helping on the crisis. So we need them to actually agree, even the parents agree that youth come to leave. So that part we are taking care of. And of course, uncertainty happened. The parents have to understand that when the youth join ACT Foundation for this. So this is one of the agreement to be signed as well from the ACT Foundation. So you can actually request this document when anything happen. The board has to agree to start all the crisis, how do you say, the humanitarian relief. So we can't go like now something happened now and then straight away I pack my bag on my own and go straight away. So you don't have a support on your own. So you have to report to ACT Foundation what you're going to do, what you can do, and we see what we can do. What is the local connect that we have from all other members of the ACT Foundation? So this is very important.
Again,
yeah. On the details of what, I think my line is speaking a lot, right?
Yeah, and we are almost closing, so definitely everything is well organized, but for these kind of things, we can definitely stay in touch and contact Ammucare and ACT Foundation, because everything is, as you see, they're real professionals and real leaders, and they faced real life scenarios. We will definitely continue with this paneling and speaking. So I would really like to thank all of panelists today for sharing their stories, your struggles, and your service. Each of you reminded us what is disaster relief and how it is to face it and how to lead it with courage and humility. And you really faced all the different situations, and it was amazing to listen to it. So for all youth who are here, we really hope that you take something from the panel today. Before closing, I will just like to give a word to Mohanji to announce the next session and the next month, actually.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. And thank you, all the panelists. This was really insightful. So, actually, we are trying to cover everything holistically. So, in the month of May, we started with natural and man made disaster management. And on 31st May, we will be joined by a very distinguished speaker, his group captain Ajay Alawat, and he will be covering certain aspects of man-made disaster management. Like as we discussed now, he will be covering about air raids, terrorism, hijack situations, and one more important point was highlighted, that is the mental aspects of disaster. So we have an entire month lined up for this. So we'll cover this in June. That will include crisis psychology, leadership, mental resilience, and communication. In July, we'll be covering about the practical aspects like medical aid, evacuation. So thank you so much, everyone. And I hope that this training is able to empower each one of us to become leaders in this crisis management. Because as we see now in the world, there are a lot of situations that are happening due to a variety of reasons. And it's very important that the youth and everyone is ready to respond to it. So I would like to hand over to Antonia to announce about how can you help us and how can you support in this initiative.
So once again, thanks to everyone, thanks to each speaker, and thank you, Mohanish. So we hope that you enjoyed today and that you like this Mohanji Youth Club initiative. Before we close it, we would like to share some of our upcoming plans. As you see, Mohanji Youth Club crisis management is really on fire, and the idea just happened. We didn't know where it will go, but we are in a process of making Mohanji Youth Club crisis management computer game, magazine, and a lot of other things. And for that, we need a support from you adults. So if for that, we need definitely software support, training skills, and outreach assistance, among many other things. And we truly believe that this will be an initiative, an impactful tool, as we all know that a lot of youth are on the computer games, playing violent games, and we all know that this is coming to the subconscious mind and influencing their mind in a negative way. So we are very, very passionate about making this happen, and it will not be only for the youth, it will be also for the adults who likes to play, and we truly believe it will change a lot of things in this world. And so we would like to reach to as many schools, as many universities, and young people as much as possible to show what is truly possible when youth unite with one purpose. We would like to all of you to support this initiative. If you feel like to support youth with optional donation, this is a QR code. We will share it in a chat here, and we'll share it in all global groups. And also, if you know anyone who could support us in software development skills, which will really help us to make this game into reality, please just reach each of us, and that will really mean a lot to us. Thank you a lot for being here, for sharing your stories, for bringing this to life. And if anyone feels to make any suggestions for these sessions and other things, feel free to contact us. This is just the beginning. We are preparing a lot of more things, and thanks to Ammucare and ACT Foundation for being part of this. If anyone has any question or anything, please feel free to share and comment or say anything before closing.
I think I would like to share one last thing, Antonia.
Yes, of course.
At the moment, I'm actually for the ACT Foundation, the Global Disaster Lead. So if any that has listened today, as I said before, it's unbelievable that you think you cannot do anything, but you can always do something. That's what I've learned. So if people feel like I would like to do something in a certain area, like Sandra was just asking a question, feel free somehow to get my personal contact details and get in touch with me. I'm really, really happy to support people on their initiatives. And doesn't have to be a crisis. It can also be some kind of other aspect of supporting.
Thank you so much. We can close this session, or if anyone has any question, you can ask, or we will spend some other time together. I hope you like it. I really enjoyed. Before we close, I think there are no questions. So see you next weekend and in some other times. And thank you for being here. Thank you for making this happen. Without you, we will not be here. So it really means a lot to us. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Jay
Thank you.
Mohanji.